Hey everybody, welcome to What Drives Us. Well, it's quarantine day again.
It's like Groundhog Day.
Yeah, this is episode 362, recorded on March 47th, 2020. I have completely lost track of what day it is. I think it's Wednesday. I may have showered last week. But
this is why you need those underpants with the days of the week on them.
Oh my God, that is. Hold on a second. No,
that's a thing.
It is
You
Wednesday.
have to change them for it to work, though.
Yeah.
Turning the calendar.
Just saying.
If you wear them for a
It's
week,
a
they'll
Wednesday.
come around
Not
again.
sure which
No.
I am Tony Schaefer, your host this week, and we're going to be talking about advanced technology, mobility, sustainable energy, and all the fun stuff that drives carbon out of the transportation sector. Fortunately, this is not a journey I have to drive alone. I have my wingman in the southwest corner, I forget, what do you call it? The bottom right, bottom left?
Whatever.
I think it's different on everybody's screen.
I know, it's Russell.
My turn?
Yeah, it's you.
Go ahead.
Hey, everybody. Welcome from the bottom left corner of America, San Diego, where it was in the mid-70s and a beautiful blue sunny sky today.
Oh, God.
Now, I know all of you with Paul looks like he's getting out a gun. I'm also just completely intimidated. But I know since some of you are suffering through the dregs of winter or late spring, and my apologies for that. But it's been raining here for the last 7 years, and I'm going to revel in a little bit of sun today. So hello, stay safe, stay at home, and that's all I got.
Yeah, we actually had measurable snow in Chicago today, which and temperature in the mid to upper 30s, and actually caused a 60 car pileup on the Kennedy Expressway this morning at 5:45 in the morning. Unfortunately, these were all people who were deemed essential, and they were just trying to get into the city.
I thought everybody's supposed to be at home.
Oh, man.
Nope.
All 60 travel in the pack on Wednesdays.
I know, apparently, yeah. But fortunately, no fatalities. There were a few injuries, but yeah, everyone's fine. So the man you heard was our man in Boulder, Colorado, who is in his new shop, his new locale. He's the owner of Boulder Hybrids. He is Paul Guzik.
Hey everybody, glad to be here, and didn't have any good beer, so I'm drinking a Corona 19.
Nice.
It makes me the most interesting man, I hear. Oh, that's another Mexican beer.
Yeah. Keep that to yourself.
Anyway, glad to be back and still unpacking the new shop, but it's getting better every day.
Is it hard to get help? I mean, do people come in and help you move, or do you have to maintain a safe distance, or how are you executing?
It was tricky.
This?
We were wearing masks when we were moving, and I just used my existing staff of the people who wanted to come to work, and about half my staff decided to stay home because they had families and whatnot that they were concerned about. But we got everything moved, and now it's just setting up shelves and unpacking stuff and figuring out and handling customers. We're actually still doing service work. People's cars are still breaking down, and we did a job this week for a healthcare worker that needed their car to get to the hospital. So we're considered essential.
Yeah. All right. Good. And the man with the wheels in the back, the Mark Coughlin Emporium of Tesla Wheels, founder of the Waterloo Region Voltec Group, EV Association resident, Volt, Tesla, and plug-in enthusiast. He is Mark Coughlin.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the show. And Paul, yes, you are an essential worker, not just considered an essential worker. You're definitely an essential worker. And I don't know why you were not in that pileup this morning in Chicago.
Wow. I'm not sure how
that was
to take that.
all the Prius mechanics in Chicago headed to their shops.
Exactly.
That's exactly what it was. Yeah.
Sounds like Washington State when it snows just a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but you think in Chicago they know how to drive in snow. Like, come on.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Maybe everybody
yeah, we
took
don't
their
understand.
snow tires off last month or something.
Yeah.
Well, maybe it may be, and there's also the consideration that usually when there's measurable snow in Chicago and on the highways, there are so many people you can't get speed. You just stay in your lane, you follow the person in front of you. That's what makes it safe. The fact that you're sardined in and you can't do stupid stuff. It's possible that people were enjoying the open road and then they hit some
Freedom,
slick
yes.
spots.
Yeah,
Yeah.
my first time in the Chicagoland area, it was a freaking blizzard, and I was doing like, I think our top speed was 10, our average speed was like 4.
Yeah, yeah. And that man right there is the Mr. Casey Green of youtube.com/Casey Green. I just did your intro. I don't know. Hey, Casey.
ACEYGREEN. Yes. So also been staying at home and got some new videos out for you guys after this. Go take a look. Yeah.
All right. And last but certainly not least, our electric car aficionado and Bolt owner, Georgia McKenzie.
Hey, people. I do not own a boat.
Why did I don't somehow for some reason I have that written down. Okay.
I do have a cat or two. But
Okay.
I thought you drove a
none
Bolt.
of them are
Named
plug-in.
Bolt.
No, but they are plug-ins.
You plug the tail into the wall.
Every so often. Just keeps them charged up and happy.
I'm sure they love that. Well, let's go ahead and get this show on the road. I am going to throw it over to Mark, who's going to tell us about as I said, you always lead with a joke.
Yeah, I can see why Tony had said that. Recently, there's been some sort of, I guess, information leak that a few automotive reporters have caught on to. And there is now a rumor out there that the upcoming Ford F-150 plug-in electric, so it does have a gasoline generator, and it will have a battery, a smaller battery for some all-electric range. The problem, of course, is the all-electric range has been stated at 10 miles. So we've got a large half-ton pickup that will go a grand total of 10 miles in all-electric mode before switching over to the gas power. Now, this is not the same truck
that's going
that
sell well in Wyoming ranches.
Yeah, I'm sure it's going to sell well in a lot of places, Paul. But this is not, of course, the truck that they had done a mini commercial themselves about a truck pulling 10 train cars. That is supposed to be an all-electric F-150, which, of course, there's no slated time for it is coming out. But this particular model is quite a disappointment. If they have the ability to create a truck that would have some all-electric range, I see that 10 kilometers just is not going to cut it. If that truck is priced anywhere over the regular truck, I cannot see anyone, especially anyone that's serious about an EV, getting a 10-mile range truck. I'm disappointed. I thought that this particular truck, with it being 2021 when it actually will be released, I was thinking that we would at least get it up to maybe the 2010 Volt that got 35 miles of range. At least give you some utility around in the city to do a few errands, to do a little commuting. But man, 10, I'm very disappointed if this is true. And again, this is a rumor. This is based on some automotive reporters collecting some information and hearing that this is going to be the number. So that is some
lame.
disappointing news if it is correct.
Ford
Yeah,
was
I
so
love
embarrassed.
Two reasons they might have done it: some kind of carb credit game, or to make it a better price to the consumer, because if it is a plug-in, it can probably get 11 grand in tax rebates.
Mm-hmm.
But from a practical point of view, it's stupid.
But isn't the rebate battery size related? I
Yeah.
mean,
It is.
so
Yeah, so that, well, but the battery, is it size or miles? Because it's going to have
Size.
a big honking battery to push a big truck around.
Yeah.
If it's kilowatt hours, it
16
probably won't
kilowatt
make it.
hours.
yeah, I was gonna say I thought it was size because I remember with the RAV4 Prime qualifies for the full 7500 because of the battery size,
Yeah.
and the size stuck with me, not the distance.
Yeah, 16
okay.
kilowatt hours.
Okay, 16
So it
kilowatt
might
hours.
qualify for
but-
4,500 federal,
Maybe.
and then
Yeah,
like
maybe something.
4,000 Colorado if you're in Colorado.
Yeah,
Ford was so embarrassed.
At least shoot for the moon and get the full federal credit. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
like come on, like let's
Don't waste
it is
Yeah.
something that you're trying to promote yourself with. Why would you not try to get as much as you could out of it? And like, I understand if you're going to put 16 kilowatts in, and in order to get the mileage you want, you need 20 kilowatts. I understand why they wouldn't go the full 20, but at least get the 16 so you get the full federal rebate.
Yep. So Ford was so embarrassed that when asked for comment, they denied everything.
I'm pretty sure this
They
leak
denied
is
they even
like,
have a truck.
this is a Tesla mole.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure this is a Tesla mole who leaked this. I mean, come on. 10 miles? Are you kidding me?
I don't,
That
it was, Car and Driver even put out, and this is the quote, probably will exceed 10 miles.
Oh yeah.
Like,
I mean, maybe
oh
the
my God,
prototype does 10, and then the real one would do 16, at least.
But to even have to use the qualifier of probably.
Probably 16. That
And then, of course,
bodes ill.
Ford did have one comment, and they indicated that Car and Driver got it wrong. Ford states that the automaker has no immediate plans for a plug-in hybrid at all.
Oh my God!
Yep.
Well, not anymore.
So someone
Deny.
said, "Do we have a truck that's going to have 10 miles of electric range? Kill it now!"
Yeah, right.
I'm sure if somebody did leak it, it's probably like somebody said, this is going to waste so much money if we even try. So let's just let's show it's just going to be laughed out of town. Just make it go.
Based on this panel's reaction, this would be crazy for Ford to release this.
Or maybe it's an angle. A lot of state and local agencies won't buy a vehicle unless it's a plug-in vehicle, and that's a minimum thing to say. Hey, we bought plug-in trucks.
Plug-in trucks that are useless.
Yeah, but they plug in.
But plug-in, that might be a point.
We're totally green.
Yeah,
We're green for 10 miles.
Yeah, and we forget to plug it in at night.
And just like they did with the Volt so many years ago, when the federal governments and the local governments were leasing the Volts for the green credits, and then just never plugged them in.
Yeah.
Not even once.
Yeah.
Because the dealer didn't plug it in either.
Yeah, another angle I was thinking on this was that, and maybe not intentionally, or maybe intentionally, Ford comes out with a plug-in with such a ridiculously low number, people don't buy it. And then Ford does what all the other major manufacturers do. They were like, no one's buying it.
No one wants it.
No one
really wants it.
The only thing I could throw rocks at that argument is they did make the Mach-E. So why on earth would you make one that's totally subpar, no good, and then come out with a Mach-E that has respectable range and performance?
Well, they've shown the Mach-E. They're not selling it yet.
Well, they've pre-sold a bunch of them.
I gotta believe they spent enough money that they're going to be selling it at some point.
So here's the reason. You have the all-electric come out same time as this plug-in hybrid, right? And then they say, see, everybody wants more range. And then they take over for all the non-Tesla sales in the rest of the world. Because they know that people want range.
Or maybe they're going to make a Mach-E pickup truck that gets 20 miles range.
Right.
It goes really fast.
It does. Yeah, it does 0 to 60 in 4 seconds, but it only has 20 miles.
And all your sheetrock flies out the back.
Yeah.
Oh
There's a 2.5-foot bed on the back. Yeah.
Right, yeah.
That's about it.
Yeah.
Well,
Jeez.
sounds brilliant.
I think we beat this one to death, Tony. Go ahead.
Yeah. Let's
One
go to
more
some
reason,
better
Ford's-
news.
What
Some,
is Ford stock at? Like $6 or something?
That's pretty low.
yeah. It's
You
it's
get a
not-
stock when you buy a Happy Meal at McDonald's.
Mhm.
You get 20 shares. Ford closed today at $5 a share.
$5.03.
Wow.
Yeah,
They,
that's,
they leave it in the box when they throw the Happy Meal away. Yeah.
Damn. Tony,
All
And the
right.
that's
kids
brutal.
cry because they want the toy instead.
This is your college fund, kid.
Ivy Tech, here we come. Okay, so let's do something a little happier because I think this is a great article and I think it's really cute. And Georgia actually is going to talk about electric RVing.
Yes, because we are all sheltering in place. We're not allowed to go take a long drive off somewhere and find some place to stay. But you're not breaking lockdown if you live in your house. And that's smart thinking.
Yeah, 21st century problems.
That's right. We have a solution. So you can choose there's actually a wide range of electric RVs that you can buy, some of which are actually for the market pretty reasonable. But I don't know if you guys read through the article. I have my favorite. And you know why? I'm not exactly a hippy dippy type, but the fact that I can finally buy what looks like a Woody style VW bus that's all electric and just camp my butt somewhere where I don't have to see any human being possible, but I can get Wi-Fi. This is a dream of mine that I've had since I was a little nerd, and I am thrilled, frankly. Now,
What, are you a big nerd now? Is that how it goes?
what else was I going to grow up to be?
Oh, that's true. Okay.
Okay. There's nothing finer. But I have to admit, my disappointment is I have to wait until 2022 for the actual one. And the Volkswagen Type 20, come on, y'all. This is the equivalent of Ravel's Bolero, which was described as...
no, don't even go there. Don't even go there with the Bolero, okay?
It just doesn't have the conclusion. I'm just like, 2022 feels a little rude. I think we can get there a lot sooner. Now, the other favorite of mine is the polar opposite because, we're not talking 50 or 60 or 70K. We are talking $194.5 thousand for the Iridium E-Mobile. Now, this is that super sleek RV that I distinctly recall being promised as a child watching TV programs that were live action but made in the 70s. We're supposed to be driving across the apocalyptic landscape, but with a sleek RV that can put out a shield. And I really feel we're almost there. We just need to get that shielding technology, but the Iridium E-Mobile, I want that. And my birthday's coming up later on this year. I really do think you guys can come pull that together. This is a good gift for me.
Okay, so
Working on that.
yeah, I mean, I saw that too, and I realize you're calling it sleek, but so I'm gonna go ahead and
Do a screen share.
let's see.
Don't miss my dreams.
It
No.
is sleek for an RV.
It is sleek.
Okay, so here's what I want our viewers to look at this and say, is it just me, or does that look like a guinea pig?
Okay, it kind of does look like a guinea pig, but
You see, you cannot unsee it now.
even though, frankly, if it was a chrome guinea pig, that just makes a guinea pig even better because guinea pigs kind of rock.
I'm not. Yeah, guinea pigs are cute.
But I've never heard a guinea pig described as sleek.
And you never
haven't
will.
seen one with chrome. You haven't
That's true.
tried.
That's true. You had some chrome, but maybe you're onto something.
So
Maybe
when I
in
was
the future, everything should be chrome.
when I was a young nerd, I too was into RVs, and then when I got into electric, they kind of went away. But now that you can get one without having to waste a whole summer building it yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Problem
I don't have
with
the money yet,
RVs
but
is
yeah.
they are big and heavy, and people want to drive long distances in them. So, how do you deal with that? Does it got a
Every campground has
Oh,
got a
yeah.
plug.
They do have a plug, and the Iridium has a 124-mile single charge range. I mean, 124 single charge range. 124 miles.
That'll get you in between the campgrounds.
That'll
yeah, but
definitely
if you want to
get
drive
me
to Alaska, that
cars.
would take you like 10 years.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
do a real American RV vacation where basically I just drive to Walmart parking lots and stay in there.
Right.
I've watched people. I know what
But
you
they don't
do.
have hookups
Yeah.
at Walmart.
Oh, I
Just-
know. I've
you go to the
seen
loophole and plug in over there. You just
That's
break
where-
off the.
That's where
tunnel.
Charge America sets up, Paul. She's
Oh, that's
good.
right. Yes.
Yeah.
So when I
Paul.
strike
You
it big,
are Paul. You are greatly underestimating Walmart. I'm pretty sure I've seen a few hookups at Walmart.
yeah. So what I would probably do
Yeah, there's a
is
website on our YouTube channel, isn't there?
I think
People
the,
of
People
Walmart?
of Walmart.
the people of Walmart. Yeah.
So what I would probably do
Hey.
is get the Tesla Semi and then get somebody to kit up a semi trailer for me, and then I know I
That's
could
the
do
way to
500
do it.
miles of charge,
There
and
you go.
mega charge
Yeah.
all across the country.
Make a travel trailer that fits on a semi.
Yeah.
Or a fifth wheel in the Cybertruck.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Back to actual
For Liz and Russell.
RVs. Does Nissan make the Dalbury? What is the Dalbury?
Nissan makes their own, and Dalbury upfits it.
Yeah.
Okay, because this looks so much like the Nissan Leaf that I thought
they
it was
make
a modified Nissan
They
Leaf.
make a camping version of the NV2000, but it's only available in Spain and Portugal, as I recall.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, they need to
And-
bring it here because this looks really.
It's
looks
cool.
really
It's
slick.
pop
I'm
up.
gonna disagree with you on the Dalbury because
Show
that
us.
interior looks like the sustainable serial killer model. What is that?
It's
That
sustainable
lacks-
serial killer. What?
It lacks so much style, except murder happens here. I mean, no.
Wow.
What's it called? I got to look this up.
The
What?
Dalbury
The
E-Electric.
Dalbury E-Electric. Yeah. It's E-Electric. I don't know what the E stands for, but it's not electric because that would
Enhanced
just be electric.
It's the sound you make when the blood is coming out of your head.
We're going to need more E's for that one.
What I would probably do if I couldn't do my idea of upfitting a semi or Cybertruck is get the Mercedes
Oh,
E-Sprinter.
yeah,
and
that's the Nissan.
van life that.
Yeah, but it's not an RV. That's just a truck that you converted.
Yeah.
Right.
No, but the Mercedes E-Sprinter is closer to van life.
See, but right. I mean, RVs with the pop-up tops and stuff. I mean,
And the
that's
pop out sides and
the pop outside. Yeah, I mean that's RV. That's
the
yeah.
bowling alley.
Well, then it goes back to the Cybertruck, to the semi-truck, because then you can have the pop-out slides on the trailer.
that was not
only 500
that was
grand.
not part of the original discussion.
Casey, you are discussing what is a high-end kludge. I'm talking about the RV factor, the cool
You're doing everything you
RV.
can to bend this over toward Tesla, and I know that's what you do. But
I started with Mercedes. The Mercedes E-Sprinter van life.
Okay, we're going to go back just a little bit, and I'll show you my favorite camper right here.
Okay, here we go. Let's see it.
yes, the phallic
nothing.
Prius.
Oh no, no,
This
no!
is a hybrid
Definition.
model that'll give you some fuel mileage, and it's obtainable. It's not. It's
Oh,
not
God,
out
no.
of range.
It's like
of
it's got a
price-wise.
tumor growing out of it.
Well, it has that, yes, but you
Here's where I
see,
get really-
they've reused the back lights. They just moved them
right.
forward. That's all.
Mhm.
This looks like Jet Jaguar. It's gonna have the cool body
No.
and become 50 feet high and fight a monster because that is Jet Jaguar's head.
No.
Yes.
Or
Wow,
something else.
I'm
I'm surprised the body isn't rubbing on the rear tires.
you know,
They put
I
leaf
saw
springs
that
instead.
I saw that same thing in white. I'm shocked that they made two.
They painted the first one.
Yeah, maybe it was
I
just
hope they
painted.
did. Yeah, I hope so. I really do.
Okay, I'm
But,
gonna.
you know,
for those
yeah.
of you, I want to make sure people know exactly what Jaguar is. Because somebody's going to go, what the hell is she talking about? Let's see if we can.
But the beauty of the Mercedes is nobody will know I'm not a contractor in the Walmart parking lot.
They'll think you're a serial killer.
That's true.
It looks like a work van.
There we go, Jaguar.
Share your screen. We don't see it.
Let me see if I can get that to work. Because I am always
In between the heart and the chat.
there. Is that working?
Let's try it.
Something's starting to share.
There it is.
Look at
There
that
we
head.
go.
It does look
Oh,
like
yeah.
it.
Look at the head.
Wow, great
It's got a
ref.
Prius camper on
That
his
is a
head.
deep reference.
I need to get out more.
Not
Or
yet.
get
We're
out
on
less. I don't
lockdown.
know.
Well, that's what this whole thing was about. All right, you guys. Take it back to
Uh-oh.
screen.
All right. Okay.
There we go.
So it is good to know that there are RVs coming. There are thoughts of even this, and maybe even some of the big beasts of the RVs will actually see some level of EV conversion. Would love to think that if you get rid of the big ass motors and transmissions and everything in those beasts, you'd be able to put in some decent batteries.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, and on interstates, a lot of states are going to have, big, fat, high-speed chargers every 40, 50 miles on interstates. So
Like Jersey.
Mm-hmm.
you won't have to go to Walmart.
Yeah, but in New Jersey, someone else has to plug you in.
Really?
No, that was
I've
just
got a
a joke.
video on that. I tried
But
to plug me in.
in New Jersey, you're not allowed to pump your own gas, so that was just a reference to that.
And Oregon.
And Oregon,
Oh, I didn't know Oregon.
Oregon
Right.
changed something about theirs. What was it?
Yeah.
Yeah, for the pandemic, they changed that. You can.
Oh,
pump
before
your own
that,
gas.
yeah.
because they made a big stink about it, and then when you looked into it further, it was like, it was not everywhere.
I don't know.
I think the one consideration is how many of those government rest stops along the freeway, how many of them have electric chargers? Is that now standard, or is it
Delaware,
just
Connecticut, Rhode Island, New York, New Jersey. I've got some videos coming.
okay? So if you're interested in
So,
the
Maryland.
green RVs, you got to watch Casey's
you have to be in
channel.
New England.
Yeah,
You
you
have to
have
be
to.
in the 3% of the country that has them. Yeah. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and move on. And this is sort of a theme, I guess. I mean, it's just because of the fact that of the situation that we're in right now. And of course, we track the automobiles and the automobile market. And this is not inherently plug-ins, hybrids, EVs, or whatever, but just the entire automobile industry itself. As we know, right now, there are not many people, at least, wearing masks and gloves and auto shopping. And a lot of the sales that take place with vehicles are actually used car auctions. Rental companies are changing their fleets. Cars are coming off of lease and they're going up to auction. And a lot of that has just shut down. So Bloomberg News had an article here from David Welch on April 13th that was talking about how the automobile industry is even further being impacted. I mean, week by week, it's getting hit harder and harder. I mean, the individual dealerships are being hurt because people are just not going to dealerships. Ford and General Motors are trying to extend their leases just to keep the cars in the hands of the drivers because they don't want the cars back. I mean, essentially, when someone returns a car, now they have to do something with it. And they're in no position to do anything with it because, like I said, these auctions are not taking place.
Well, the auctions are still taking place. Most of them are online.
Yeah,
but people are not buying the cars. Like as a used car dealer, I used to buy cars all the time at auctions. I'm not buying anything right now because I don't have people coming in saying, "Hey, I want to buy a car this week because I got lots of money." With the economic uncertainty, people are just delaying those purchases.
Yeah.
So
You could be
And-
stuck on
and-
something that doesn't
There's
sell.
a demand on the consumer side. No one in the car business wants to have inventory on their lot that they can't sell.
And right until factories got shuttered, I don't want to say shuttered in a bad way, but right before the lockdown and everything happened, we know that the manufacturers were still cranking out cars at 100% capacity. And those cars are waiting to be delivered. Some of them were in the process of being delivered. So those cars are stacked up. But in the last week of March, used car sales fell 64%. Think about that. 64% drop in 1 week. That's huge.
Well, also when you think about it, a lot of the larger used car places, like I don't know if Paul buys his on credit or if he buys them on operating on his revenue, but the bigger ones, like with a 100-car or 300-car lots, they buy their stuff on floor plan. So, do you want to get stuck holding 300 cars and paying interest on them?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
It's until consumers are willing to bust out their checkbook or sign a loan. Not many used cars are going to get sold, and almost no new cars are going to be sold.
Yeah.
Because if you don't know if you're going to have a job next month, do you want to go and buy a brand new car?
Not unless I had to.
Yeah,
I bet
well, that was one of the things. When you think about the position, it is certainly a buyer's market. If you're in a position to buy a car, and if you were considering buying a car, I'll tell you what, this would be a good time to walk into a dealership and say, I want to buy a car, and
Show me
I'm
your
only
best
going to pay
deal.
this much. Yeah, and you're going to give me your best deal, and I bet you I could talk you down even more.
Yep.
And you don't have to walk into the dealership. You can do it all online now.
Yeah.
And they do the contactless delivery and all that. So
I bet you that the regular manufacturers at the end of the month were all looking like Tesla does at the end of a quarter, just ready to dump all those cars on the dealership so they could pay the floor plan instead of the manufacturer holding on to them.
Mm-hmm.
Like, just load them on the trucks. Let's go. Get another one.
I mean, we will see a bump in used car sales, I think, when everybody gets their stimulus check.
Yeah.
And people that need a car are going to say, "Hey, I got $1,200, or if it's a couple, I got $2,400. I can use this as a down payment." And if they feel the economy is going to start coming back in a month or two, that might stimulate a few sales. But
and then regular
this
tax
week,
season too.
the last month, no one's buying cars.
Yeah.
There's a particular car rental company in Florida that found a solution for this.
Oh yeah, I thought that was a special too when I saw that. I was like,
this is a picture of 3,500 rental cars going up in flames on a Florida parking lot near an airport. So they found an inventive way to get out of their dilemma. Apparently,
boy, if that's ever
doesn't cover during a plague.
Speaking of rental cars, no one's renting cars right now. I had a customer this week. Had an older car. He says, "Do you think my car will make it to Salt Lake City?" And I said, "It's kind of getting old, and why don't you just rent a car?" And he says, "Well, I don't want to spend all that money." I said, "Call and see what they're cost." And of course, it's $17 a day to rent a car right now.
Wow!
Said, wow! Using my car, I'm just going to rent a car and get a brand new one.
Yeah,
yeah.
Because they've got lots full of cars they can't sell, can't rent.
And anecdotally, and this isn't meant to be a wide statement, but for reasons I'm not going to go into here, I had signed up to do a test drive with one of my favorite car companies about 2.5 weeks ago. And I want to tell you that car company has contacted me via text and email and telephone no less than 6 times, including this morning, to get me down there to drive one of their cars. So, yeah, obviously people are motivated. And, the question is really going to be when will people have money to buy things again?
Yes.
And feel comfortable about spending big money on big ticket items.
Yes.
Sure.
Because
like that's a critical question.
They're still doing layoffs. There was another.
We are. Yeah. I think the biggest problem we have in America, especially with the way how our society and industry works, is that everybody forgets that one industry is not one isolated industry. It is interconnected. There are so many things that are going to be affected. And 2, you guys at the top who have been earning a lot of money and have a lot of bonuses and a lot of stock options and all that bullshit maybe you might have to not get paid for a good long amount of this year so you can maintain the company. It's going to be a choice. Are you going to pay the CEO the $10 million per year plus whatever interest-free loans that you will forgive when he finally gets golden parachuted off into oblivion, we hope.
We hope.
And versus having a company that can be around for the next year, because that's the hard choice we're facing right now. Yeah. And nothing that we're talking about would not make sense to any of us. I mean, it's obvious. Nobody's going to buy a car if they don't know where the next paycheck is coming from. And even if you have a job right now, if you don't know you're going to have a job in June, why would you buy anything?
Exactly.
But they can't seem to get that to their head. Well, obviously the next economy is toilet paper. I'm going to run out into the woods and just grab some leaves
but
just
like
in case.
Georgia brought up, like everything is interconnected. I mean, Boeing's not making airplanes. They've closed their factories. But there are thousands of little companies that supply Boeing with all the doodads that go in the plane. And all those companies are not selling their products now. And their employees are not working. So
you got a company that makes the screws, and then a company that supplies the screw maker with the ingots, and the ingot maker with the rolls.
Well, it's a catastrophic failure. It's a cascade failure, really.
Yeah, one of the crazy things, I mean, you have the primary manufacturer, you have the secondary supplier, then you have the tertiary businesses. And without people commuting or driving to work, then the gas stations are losing money. The restaurants are losing money. That Potbelly on the corner that usually gets the lunchtime rush. Yep. Nothing. The evening rush as people are driving home.
And right now, any other year, we'd be selling a shit ton of summer tires as people switch out of their winter tires, but no one's driving their car. So they're like, well, I don't need tires yet,
Right.
So, it's going to be delayed. I mean, we're going to sell a lot of tires that we would have sold this month, probably in June, maybe, if we're lucky. But, nobody's selling tires. No one's selling cars. Yeah. People are only buying what they absolutely need. Their food, toilet paper, internet, whatever they need to survive.
Yeah. I was reading an article the other day. I don't remember what company it was, but they took their CEO and canceled all his bonuses. They put his bonus on furlough, so that way they could keep the company functioning at some level.
Yeah.
And I thought that was incredible because, as Georgia said, I would have expected them to just shut down and golden parachute the guy out of there, but they did the right thing. I wish I remember who they were.
Mm-hmm. And it would be cool if other CEOs got up and said, hey, I'm going to cut my compensation in half so we can keep our employees.
It would have been great if he did it.
But it would be cool if they would do it.
But the board's like, no bonuses until this is over, which was the right thing.
Yeah, just do it.
Yeah. While we're piling gasoline or throwing gasoline on the fire, I also want to just remind everybody that we've talked several times in the show about the car loan crisis, the subprime car loan crisis that's taking place right now, that has been taking place for the last year, has been building up as more and more finance companies have been doing 72 and 80-month car loans so they can get people into more expensive cars they can't afford. Guess what? All of those people, whether they got an 80-month or a 60-month, they're unemployed, they're getting 20% less, maybe if they're lucky. They've taken a cut in pay. We're not only talking about a glut from the supply side, we're talking about potentially decimating people. Just go and take the car. I don't care. I'm not driving it. It doesn't matter. I can't afford it. Take it. Potentially cataclysmic results. I had to try that twice to say that.
This could make 2008 look like a walk in the park.
Yeah. When people were opposed to the automotive bailout and stimulus under Obama, I made the same points about, hey, it's a cascade failure. This fails, but a lot of other things will fail too. This will be much, much worse.
Yep.
And on that ray of sunshine.
Wow. Yeah.
Story on what drives us. Thank you.
Minor
okay.
chord.
Go to sleep.
Well,
What Drives You is brought to you by Therapy Online.
Therapy.com. Geez. I'm going to need another therapist now. Okay. So I'm going to kick it over to Casey, who is going to tell us something about an apology or something.
Yes. So you guys might remember a couple of weeks ago we had a segment on what Tesla does with the vehicles that have managed to get themselves a salvaged, or in other words, unclean title, and they're supercharging. And we had a lot of people going around with repaired or non-repaired cars that suddenly could no longer supercharge. Well, Rich Rebuilds, the guy who repaired the flooded Tesla with a butter knife, he found some people with Model 3s that have had salvage titles that have been repaired and got their titles restored that still supercharge. He said every single one he's checked on so far still supercharges. And his theory is that it's because Tesla's getting pay per charge on these vehicles. And yeah, and Mark and I were talking in between the shows. We were thinking that if you've paid the $6,000 and your car checks out clean on the Model S and the Model X, why not then turn on the pay per charge supercharger? Or, as Mark was saying, if it was even more fair, at $6,000, give them the free supercharging for life. But to make it on the even footing with the Model 3s, I would think that, yeah, it's checked out, it's clean, it passes all our tests, let it supercharge, but you're going to pay us a connection fee and this much per minute or per kilowatt hour.
Mm-hmm.
And it seems that they did that with the Model 3. And,
it seems the right thing to do.
Could it be that they only did it with the Model 3 because it's a newer vehicle?
And that was another one of his theories, is that maybe because these ones haven't started to have their... Because we've heard all these stories about the really old Model S's that have had their charge speed reduced because they... to reduce the chance of them catching fire. And since these are all new batteries, because they're all, 2017 at the oldest, and they're the newer tech, because they already charge it at the 250 kilowatts, that perhaps these ones don't have that capping as they age, and so they're just more comfortable with this technology, and they're not going to say it.
Yeah.
It's all about the money.
That was my primary when he said that one. I was like, yep, there it is.
Yeah.
I mean, if they can charge you to charge, they're gonna...
Yeah. I totally understand. The thought that the older S and X batteries, especially the old original S batteries, may not be able to fully handle, the supercharging, and perhaps it's a rebuild.
But that would be the same if it's a clean title car or a rebuilt salvage title car.
Exactly, especially if it's a Jealous X situation where all it was damaged body panels like paint, and the insurance company said, "Oh, we're not going to pay $20,000 to respray the whole car." It's totaled. You come in and you don't care what it looks like, and it doesn't. I
think a fair thing that Tesla should do is say, "Look, if your car's been rebuilt from salvage, you can use the superchargers, assuming we test the car and make sure it's safe, but we're going to charge you." And I think that's a fair way to do it.
Yeah,
that would be the best way. Yeah,
I mean that's what happens if you wreck a Prius and get it rebuilt, and it's a rebuilt from salvage title. Your factory warranty has evaporated, but you can still drive the car. You can still buy parts for it.
You can use any gas station you want.
Dealers will still work on it. They just won't do warranty work on it.
Yeah, you're not restricted to which gas stations you can use.
But you lose some benefits once it's rebuilt from salvage. You can't get full insurance in many states.
Yeah.
But you can still use the car.
Yeah, but what hurt the most was the guys who'd already paid the $6,000. I think there were 2 or 3 that paid the $6,000. Tesla said you're good to go. Turn on the supercharging, and then last month gave them the big old middle finger and turned it off.
Yeah, well, they should get their money back.
Yeah, that's BS.
Yeah.
That's
Now, is there any way for the charger to I don't know all the words, but basically, can the charger evaluate the car and the battery and control its charging rate based on what it senses from the...
It does that for new cars. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So what I'm thinking is one of the things they might be saying is, well, now the charger is smart enough to recognize whether or not the car can handle it. So we're going to go ahead and turn it on for it because we have another safety built in.
Right.
Yeah, but they've been that way from day one. Yeah.
Yeah, and if they were tested, you think they would test for that? Like, but the other thing that we haven't mentioned yet is that they also turned off the ability to DC fast charge at all.
Yes.
So you cannot even use a fast charger with a CHAdeMO adapter. That's been turned off. You can only level 2 charge these cars going forward.
And if you turn it back on yourself, they will sue you into oblivion because the car will report it.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow.
Man,
Unless you know the right people.
Unless you know the right
They will
buy
sue
a
you to
Tesla
oblivion.
with that.
What if you wrap the car in aluminum foil?
I'm sure if you pulled the modem
only do that
and then
to your
and then turned
brain.
it on and then only used third-party stations, that they probably wouldn't have any way to know. But what happens down the line when the car misses so many synchronizations with the mothership? How does it behave? And do you still have a good car at that point?
I think that's like Empire Strikes Back when they say it's using a code, but it's an older code, and Darth Vader says, "Let him in."
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because there have been cars that Rich found that were shut down for 2-3 years. He turns them on, they update, and they continue on like nothing happened.
So it's like Independence Day.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just get yourself a USB drive and plug it in. You're good to go.
Tony's been watching a lot of movies lately.
Yeah. You don't even want to know the movies I've been watching in quarantine. Well, hold on, let me back up there. It's okay. So I'm gonna segue for 15 seconds. So I found a book in a consignment shop several months ago called 1001 Movies to Watch Before You Die. I'm literally starting at the beginning, and just so you know, the book is in chronological order, and I'm at 1924 right now. So those are the movies I've been watching while quarantined.
That's beautiful.
Okay.
Yeah. I know, right?
Oh, yeah. 1924 the year. Wow.
Yeah.
1924. Yeah. So it's
Have they gotten to talkies yet?
No. Oh no. In fact,
You're not even talkies?
I'm 8 episodes into a French series called The Vampires, Les Vampires. And I've done some Buster Keaton, and I did The Great Train Robbery, and of course the Voyage to the Moon was the first one. So those are the movies I've been watching. So
do you get a degree in film at the end of this? Because that's basically a degree in film.
Yeah.
So to circle back, and speaking of old stuff, this brings us back to Right to Repair with Paul. I mean, outside of the people in Massachusetts, I mean, this is a big old middle finger to everyone. I mean, you own the metal, but you can't even plug it in wherever you want to plug it in, like even on systems that they don't control. What is up with this?
That's going to change, I think. With a little bit of consumer education. And not every consumer wants to fix their own car, but they want the option to take it to an independent repair shop. Because if your only option is to go to the dealer, you're going to get bent over every time.
Or look at the case of the Tesla Roadster. They don't really support that anymore. So you've got the 1 or 2 Tesla service centers that still know what to do with it, and you've got Gruber Motors, and then independents like you that actually want to touch it. And other than that, you've got a $150,000 paperweight if something happens, like you forget to plug it in for a month.
Or the Toyota/Tesla RAV4 EV.
That one too.
That's a really big paperweight.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's something that jumped out at me when I was reading this article, that basically they don't want you to use third-party chargers. And the whole concept of you bought it used, or it's a salvage vehicle, whatever, and you can't just charge it as much as it needs to be charged and go. There's this constant tether to Tesla. I think that there's going to be a class action lawsuit on that. It's one of those I can see far ahead, and class action lawsuit coming.
Yeah, and then the video before this one that Richard Bills did was he went through his day in the life with the butter knife car, because that one did supercharge after he repaired it, and it was good, and they turned it off. And so he was going through what you have to do when you can't use a third-party charger. You have to use level 2 everywhere, or even level 1 where you plug it into a 120.
Years. Oh my God!
Yeah,
we've been dealing with this issue for 2.5 decades or more. And in my world, it started out in the music business when you could buy a CD, and then the RIAA said, "Well, you don't really own it, It's a license. You can't do whatever you want with it because we own the music. And people were like, what do you mean? I bought it. It's mine. I can do whatever I want with it. And they went, well, not so much that. And we're seeing that more and more, whether it's John Deere or Tesla or whoever it is, saying you bought this thing, but that doesn't mean you can do anything you want with it.
Yeah.
This is more than just a class action against Tesla. We have to define what the word buy is.
Buy, consumer protection, all that. Like I think what happened was John Deere saw RIA get away with it. And then Elon Musk saw John Deere get away with it. He said, I'm going to ramp this fucker up to 11.
This is literally Creative Cloud by Adobe, but in car form.
Yes.
Oh my God! Wow. Yeah.
But where that analogy falls down, though, if I understand you, Georgia, is that I used to spend $1,200 a year for the Creative Suite from Adobe. Now I spend $10 a month for Photoshop, and if I stop paying, whatever, it doesn't work. But the difference is huge.
And when you need it again, you pay $10 again.
Yeah, I go out and spend the tens of thousands of dollars for a Tesla. It damn well, I better be able to get it fixed, and it should do what I want it to do.
Yeah, and if you plug it in and it doesn't ground fault, let the freaking juice flow. I mean, and not just because this one is a Model 3 and that one's a Model S. They both, literally, if the Model S had a gel sex, you poured acid on the paint, and the insurance company says no. There's nothing wrong with the car.
And this whole argument of the manufacturers, they're protecting the consumer for safety reasons, that's bullshit.
It is bullshit.
I mean,
Absolutely
people have been
bullshit.
tinkering on their cars forever. And if you're stupid enough to get under a car on a jack without jack stands and the car falls and kills you, well, you're an idiot, And if you work on an electric car without turning off the power, you're an idiot,
Speaking of idiots,
So
we
let
had
go ahead. Let me just ask here: how many people are affected by Model S's?
a lot less than Model 3s.
And so, how many years before the Model 3 population becomes affected?
Probably 3.
So let's come back in 3 years, and Georgia's
is
absolutely right.
Yeah.
Europe is ahead of Massachusetts in the right to repair movement, and it's only a matter of time before consumers get on it and change the rules here. I mean, if you guys go back 20 years ago, when cell phones started, you couldn't move your phone number to a different carrier. If you got a phone number from AT&T, you were stuck with AT&T forever. And finally, consumers said, this is stupid. If I want to go to Sprint or Verizon, I should be able to take my phone number with me.
Yeah. And
legislation was written to allow that to happen. So it's just awareness and consumer movement that's going to make it happen. I'm with Casey. It's probably about 3 years away.
Yeah.
Because there'll be enough used Model 3s out there that people are saying, well, I'm not taking it to the dealer. I want to take it to Paul. And
as they should.
Yeah. And then we did a segment just an hour ago on the Tesla Life where a bunch of dumbasses were putting their cars in dynamometer mode and crashing them.
What?
Yes, because it lets you spin the tires and it turns off ABS and all that.
Oh, wow.
They were crashing the cars, and so Tesla
and they were
reached
concerned
in
that their warranty was voided. Well, if you do that to a Hellcat, your warranty is going to be voided.
Oh, it logs it in the computer the minute you put that red key in. Yeah. Warranty void. And so it kind of reaches into the same thing. But that one I kind of understand because it's safety and warranty. But the same concept. They reached in to something you've already bought and turned it way down without warning.
Wow.
They didn't destroy it, but the fact that you can't use a third-party charger and the fact that they have now discriminated basically the guys who gave them more money for the premium car versus the guys who gave them a little less money for the mid-premium car. It's like I don't see this standing.
Are you getting
like
screwed a lot, or are you getting screwed a little?
I think you're getting screwed a lot because you spent the $140,000. Somebody comes and keys your car. Your insurance company says, "Oh, well, we don't want it," and you say, "Well, I still like the car. I'll paint it myself."
No, that's what I'm saying. You were saying the people who paid for the extra stuff versus the people who didn't. It's like, yeah. It's just, yeah.
It's a terrible policy.
Yeah. Well, I want to take this opportunity to remind everyone that if you want to read all the news we're reading, be sure to check us out online. You can find our Facebook page at facebook.com/whatdrivesus. Leave us comments, suggest news items, or just like the page. I will say that there were a couple of articles this week that some people were asking for online, and so it was always great to get that feedback and input. Also, if you use Flipboard as a news aggregator, make sure and check us out. Look for the What Drives Us magazine. Philip Barclay and I tend to throw some articles in there from time to time. And so with that, I want to throw it out for shout outs, and Georgia happens to be in my upper left. Georgia, do you have any last things or any shout outs you want to make?
Yes, I do. I want to send a shout out to long-term viewer 01010 and Reg Aldridge. By the way, I like the binary. Very cool. Thank you so much for your kind comments. Thank you for welcoming me here and letting me rant on this program. You're great.
Well, they welcomed you. We let you rant. So just to make sure the credit is properly
That got creepy really quick. Okay.
Fine.
All right, and Mr. Coughlin, anything new in the Tesla Wheel Emporium industry?
No, haven't received my next shipment because everything's closed. But I did want to remind you, if you haven't already, please give us a thumbs up on the video. And if you haven't subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? It's free. It helps us out. Give us a thumbs up and a subscription, and we would really appreciate it.
All right, thanks, Mark.
If you get any Model S wheel covers, the new ones, or the Model 3 sport cover, send them his way. Get that room.
Right. Or if you happen to park next to a Model S.
Oopsie.
Just saying.
Tony.
Wear a mask.
Yes. As long as you're wearing a mask and gloves, no one will recognize you and you won't leave fingerprints. What?
It's not stealing if you don't use tools.
That's not how it works. Absolutely not.
That my attorney told me that once. She might have been wrong.
I think she might have been
Former
joking.
attorney. Casey, do you have any videos coming out?
I do. I've got some more supercharger videos getting ready to get on deck, and I just completed a smattering of Tesla software update reviews. And so I don't do that thing where a new update comes out and I filmed 3 things and I go turn it in for views. No. What I do is I get the software in. I look at it, I see what's different. I sit on it for a couple days to see what's hidden in there. Like people were complaining, or not complaining, but excited that the visualizations had changed for this last update, and they changed back in December. And if you watch my videos, you'll actually see me point them out and call them out. And then on this last update, same thing. There wasn't much to it. It was a point update. They added in the Tesla Cam viewer, but I said let's sit on this for another day and see what I find out. The freaking smart summon has gone. It's super confident, but it'll scare the crap out of you. I thought the car was going to hit something. So it's instead of running at 5 miles an hour max, it's now running at like 5 to 6 miles an hour, and it almost hit a lady and a car. And so I didn't want to try it further in different light conditions like I had planned to, and so I will try it again at the next update and see what also has been tweaked.
So do they call it drunken summon now, or
it wasn't drunk? It knew where it was going. It was just going to scare the crap out of this lady and me. So I told it to stop.
That would be confident summon.
Confident summon, yes. But you'll find that at youtube.com/KCGreen. That's KACEYGREEN. And that particular update is 2020.12.5.
Great. All right. Paul, how's the move going?
Move is good, and anybody who needs their car serviced, we have a cool new feature on our website, boulderhc.com. There's a little widget in the lower right corner that you can book an appointment and contact us from your smartphone, from your tablet, from your computer, whatever. And like I said last time, if you need work on your car and you still have money in your bank account, call your local mechanic, give them some business, because they're open and a lot of them are hungry for business.
Tip the cashiers.
And support your local restaurants that are doing takeout as well, because you're probably getting sick of cooking at home, and a lot of the local restaurants are up and running for takeout.
Yeah, that's a good point. Thanks, Paul, and the reminder. Support your local breweries. Support your local restaurants, your local stores, and if possible, buy gift cards. Because you're going to go back eventually, give them the money now, and then you can give them the business later.
Maybe buy some stamps.
And buy some stamps. Good God, take everything you have and give it to the post office now. Okay, maybe not.
Well, and if you buy forever stamps, that's a good investment because when they raise the rate,
Yes.
you don't get
Yeah,
it.
you're gonna have a lot of stamps. Let's do this thing.
Ooh, stamps will be the next toilet paper.
They are in prison.
Yeah.
Not that I know firsthand. I've watched stuff.
Yeah, right. Okay.
I have so many questions.
I'm staying out of this show from now on.
No, you're not. You're up
Just
next, Russell. Any last shout outs?
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Hey, shout
Hey, what
outs.
do you know?
As always, I want to thank Michael Manring for our amazing theme music. Visit him at manthing.com. And as we've all suggested, Paul, great suggestion of supporting your local mechanic. Support artists as well. Support any local genuine small business right now. But since it's this business that you're watching, manthing.com, go buy a Michael Manring song this week. Just one. That's all. Thank you. And that's all I got. Cheers, everybody. Stay safe.
Yeah, I want to thank all of you for watching and listening. I want to thank all of our panelists for the show. Thanks for spending a little bit of time with us. That's all we got for this week. Man, before we know it, it'll be another week and it'll feel just like today, I'm sure. But make sure you tune in, download next week, and find out what drives us. Stay safe and wash your damn hands.
Subscribe, get a notification. You have to remember what day it is.